Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to A.O.S. Abroad. Thank you very, very much for joining this wonderful episode. Really do appreciate. Thank you for coming on live and being part of this live session. So today we want to talk about another very crucial topic when it comes to immigration abroad, especially when it comes to you coming into Canada and being a permanent resident of Canada. Yes. Today we want to talk about the latest invitations that IRCC, immigration, refugees, and citizenship Canada actually had from, I think that was last week. Yeah, last week. And this draw is quite an interesting one. It was had on Thursday. For those that can actually see my screen, we are talking about none but the September 18, 2025 draw. This was the round of invitation where Canada selected trade occupations. You understand? That's version two of the trade occupations. Some people may be wondering that, okay, what is the trade occupations? What does it really entail? I'm going to talk about that in this live session today. But I just want you to know that this particular draw, in fact, a lot of people have been anticipating the draw, but we never expected, you understand? We never expected that the trades occupation draw is going to go as much as 500. We never expected it that it's going to be for the topmost kinds of immigrants. Do you understand? Because 500 above is always for Canadian Experience Class programs, is always for provincial nominee programs, is always for, in some instances, we can even see the healthcare. Yeah. But we never expected that the sheer amount of people that will be interested in the trades occupation, that would not just only now be even interested, but that would qualify for a particular draw, that will qualify for a particular round of invitation, will now be up to and even now above 500 CRS scores. We never expected it. It was not something that if they tell us, oh, the next draw would have 500 people in the trades occupation, it was not that kind of draw that would believe that, yes, this person talking is serious. But that's to tell you that when it comes to the field of immigration, when it comes to Canadian immigration, you never know what can happen. You understand? You never, even people that have been in this industry for decades, some people have been in it for close to a generation, they keep saying things are changing faster than they used to. You understand? So because things are changing faster than they used to, you have to understand that anything can happen at any point of time. At any point in time, we can have some abnormalities. At any point in time, those that didn't qualify before may have the opportunity to qualify to come into Canada as permanent residents. Number one. Number two, the easy way out for many people, because just like the easy way out was for people to come into Canada as a student, you understand, to come into Canada as a visitor, many of those things now we are seeing that the policies are making it much more difficult for people, you understand, to get in through that way. So just like it is difficult for people to get in through the what? The study, the visitor as at now, even for the trades occupation that many of us were thinking that, oh, this will be like the gift you understand, for all the policy changes, all the things that have actually gone within the year 2024 and 2025, all the things that have transpired, this will be like a gift to the immigrant. Alas, many people were expecting it more than what we expected. You know that people beat us in our expectations. Immigrants beat us in what? In our expectation. We never expected that it to be that high. You understand the cutoffs. The cut for those that are seeing it on the screen, if you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you would see that the cutoff for this September 18, 2025 draw was 505. The CRS score of the lowest, when they say lowest, ranked candidates invited. That means other people were above this 505. You understand? This cutoff was for the least person that he just rapala, the least person that just had the opportunity to just shook it, and for that person to get invited. Do you understand? So that's to tell you that the competition is fierce. People are not smiling. You understand? When it comes to immigration to Canada, people are not smiling. Things are happening. Do you understand? Things are happening. But instead of us just saying all those or trying to scare you, and we don't need to scare you in this, we have to show you how exactly you too you can get to be invited. Because if you look at September 17, 2025, that was when they had the education occupations version 1 round of invitation. And the funny thing is, one of our clients got selected through that withdrawal. We are so happy. We congratulate him. I remember we taught him the IELTS. He had a very good score, I think 8.5 or 9.0 in this IELTS. He marked out his IELTS. He was a genius in the IELTS because even us that we taught him that we were the teacher, we did not have that kind of score in the IELTS. But that's the beauty of it. That's our prayer, that our students would actually do more than us. Our students would pass more than us. They will excel more than us in the what in these language examinations. Because yes, we did it, we learned what worked, and now we are trying to pass it across, and we expect that people actually can have high thoughts. So he had a very good score, and now he was part of those that were selected in the education occupations draw of September 17, 2025. Now, he was selected because yes, we just knew that okay, education, what is the worst that can come? Maybe they will say 470s or 480. Because mind you, they have had education draw before. You understand the education occupations draw. For those that remember, we had the 479, on May 1st, 2025. You understand? They have selected, like in IRCC had selected 1,000 immigrants. You understand? For the education occupations version 1, around May 1st, and the person that had the least amount of CRS score was the person that had 479. So we were using that to judge the subsequent education draw. That okay, if they had a draw of 479, do you understand? So the next draw, do you understand what I'm trying to say? The next draw would be around that 479. So we were trying to get more points, you understand, working towards the clients, our clients that actually got selected, Mr. Chris. We're trying to work with him to even get more points than the point he had, you understand, initially. And that's why we said, okay, let's train your wife. She should actually get our IELTS done so that our consultants could, you understand, include the IELTS, and they will be able to get more points. But we never knew that, oh, whilst we were trying to get more points for him, you understand, his over 460 points was already enough for him to get the subsequent ITA. And that was what happened at the end of the day, that he got his ITA, you understand, last week, precisely on Wednesday last week. But and that was about 1 week ago. But for the trade occupations, even though we never knew the previous trade occupation draws, like we never had a trade occupation draw for this year. If you look at the stats, let's look at the stats so that you also see what we're trying to say, so that you really understand the main picture we are saying. Trade occupations version 1, the last trade occupations version 1 they had was on October 23, 2024. Do you understand? October 23, 2024. This was the 321st, 21st draw. Do you understand? So, and they picked 1,800 people, and the cutoff was just 433. 433 CRS point scores. So we were even thinking that okay, if worse come to worse, do you understand? The draw would be like 450. You understand? If worse come to worse, it will be around 440. We were thinking behind, like along those lines, that okay, let's look at 440 to 450 CRS points for that person that has the lowest ranking, you understand, score for that particular draw. Because of course, IRCC, do you remember the last time when we said that IRCC has informed us through one of the access to information requests that one of the Calgary based RCIC has actually requested, where IRCC showed that for the remainder part of the year, you understand, they are going to have education draw, they are going to have trades draw, and you understand, we're expecting some of these draws. But we never expected that more than 50 plus, more than 50 plus CRS points will go over the normal threshold. Because if you look at now, look at what I'm trying to say so that you understand what I'm trying to say. October 23, 2024, those that were under the trade occupations version 1, those that were invited had 433 CRS scores. You understand? And the invitations they issued was just what, 1,800. Now, for the July 4th, 2024, the 300th draw for trade occupations version 1, we had also 1,800 people that were invited, and it was just 436 people. 436 CRS points that is selected out of the 1,800. If you look at even previous year, not even last year alone, previous year, December 19, 2023, for the trade occupations version 1 as well, it was the 276th draw. 1,000 people were invited, and the CRS score was just 425. And in fact, still in that year 2023, August 3rd, 2023, the 261st draw, we had trade occupations version 1 with 1,500 invitations issued and just 388 CRS points. So if you look at that trajectory, if you look at, I'm a data scientist, so I look at data. I use data to corroborate some of the trends. You understand? And we use the trends to detect some of the insights about, because nobody's working with IRCC to know the kind of draw they would do. But based on the data, based on what we have seen, you understand, from time past, we were able to analyze that, okay, if we were to have a trade occupations draw, maybe this month, September, or next month, October, the average, you understand, of those, even though there was an anomaly, which was 388, which we didn't use in the data, but we said, okay, 425, 436, 433. If we look at that, okay, and we now say because of the timing, because it has been long, they have had the draws, like a year plus of trade occupations draw. We were thinking that, okay, for a year plus, let's give maybe an additional 10 points or 20 points. You understand, to it that, okay, this particular trade occupations draw could be up to 450. So that was the analysis, that it could be up to 450. But when that draw hits and we saw 505, we said, what? Like, it was so people were vexing. I don't know if you understand me. People were vexing that this draw, they must enter. Even people that are in Canada, there are some people that don't have that 505. You understand? If you work in Canada, you school in Canada, and you not do some certain things, or you don't have some certain points in your CRS, or your IELTS, or your language score, you may not have that 505. So it was so glaring that it was the best of the best of the best that they picked. You understand? And how can now the best of the best of the best now be up to 1,250 for just the trade occupations draw? Do you understand? So that shows that people have targeted that draw. They have put a sniper to it. They say if the draw comes out, they want to know what will happen. You understand? So, in as much as we are saying this, that we never expected the draw to be as that high, we never expected the CRS score to be that high, 505. That could be the bad news. But still, we have a good news, or we have good news for those that are still kind of positive about the trade occupations. Because again, some people too, at the point when they saw that draw, some people were discouraged. Some of our clients that were already thinking of trade occupations, that okay, they would have a chance at trade occupations, they will be able to actually get selected and stuff, and that we have to tell them that if you look at it, things sometimes there are some anomalies. Do you understand? Let me put it that way. Sometimes there are some anomalies. Anomaly of, okay, look at the trade occupations they had in the year 2023. the first one ever, August 3rd. Many people didn't even think much of the trade occupations that time because it was like the first that they had in the version 1. And they picked people, 1,500 people with just 388 what? 388 points. So if we look at that, we can also say that this September 18, 2025 trade occupations version 3 job is also an anomaly. We can, you understand, we may postulate, it's like an hypothesis. It's an hypothesis. We can also say that it is an anomaly because they don't usually have this kind of draws up to 505 points. You understand? Like the lowest rank candidates being invited being 505. They don't always have this. Not for trade occupations. You understand? Not even federal skilled trades. If you look at even federal, let's go down a little so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Even federal skilled trades, the one that yes, Canada uses under the express entry. If you look at it, the 159th job on August 6, 2020, which is like 5 years back, federal skilled trades was just 250 people they picked, and they picked people that had 415 points. Though we can't use that one because it's far back, 2020. What happened during COVID, before COVID, we cannot use it to justify what is now happening post COVID. We have to understand that because a lot of things has changed. A lot is never the same again. You understand? Post COVID. But it's just to show you that skilled trades or federal skilled trades or trade occupations jobs, they are always a way that people always see that okay, if I don't even qualify for the professional jobs, for the healthcare occupations jobs, for the STEM occupations jobs, for the education occupations job, for the French, like they look at it as it's still requiring just English. I don't need to learn French for the trade occupations. You understand? And it is lower compared to the other jobs. So people always see that they have a higher chance of getting selected through the trade occupations than other category-based jobs, you understand, of express entry. But this particular month, this particular last job, IRCC show us shaggy. They show us shaggy that you cannot predict accurately sometimes. Sometimes you just give it to them that okay, do anything you want to do. Our clients, if they have to go and write another IELTS, if they have to learn French, if they have to, they will try and do something. We also at AS are good. We will try at the end of the day can just clients, we can just students. Okay, yeah, come to class back. If you did not come to class, let your spouse or your common law partner come to class back. Do you understand? So what we are trying to say in essence is things are changing. And instead of you to complain about the change and to be someone that will just be looking at the negatives, look at the positives. Do you understand? That is where we are coming through. That is like from the back job we are actually analyzing this thing. That don't always look at the negatives, look at the positives. And what are the positives? Let's analyze what can be the positives of this particular situation. The last trade occupations, as we said, on September 18, 2025, just last week, we actually saw that those that were invited were just 1,250. You understand? Invitations issued, and the CIS score of the lowest ranked candidates invited was 505. Do you understand? 505. Now we have known that one is sure. We have seen the job. We have witnessed the job. Those that qualified, even though most times we don't even know them, congratulations. You understand? But now, those that are still not expecting trade occupations, the question is that all? Is that the only thing that can happen? Or is that the worst that can happen? Or do you have any chance again apart from what you have been able to see from the drugs that IRCC did last week? Now, let's look at the allocation, the category-based allocations, ITA applications for the remainder part of the year 2025, according to, you understand, the access to information request, which is the ATI obtained by the Calgary-based RCIC Mandip. leader. Now, let's look at it. That is there still okay? Someone is saying something. Esther Obi, thank you very much for a question. Esther Obi said, "What about healthcare? Any hope next week?" Esther Obi, thank you very much. I see your likes as well on TikTok. Really appreciate. Good question. What of healthcare? Because yes, I talked about education. I talked about trades. I have not talked about healthcare. Let's now talk about healthcare. If you are part of our clients, or not our clients, our followers or subscribers, and you participated in the last live session where we were explaining the remainder of the ITAs that we are expecting for the year 2025, you would hear from my conversation then that education, they have had 1,000 draws, 1,000 ITAs issued so far in the year 2025. We were expecting 2,000 draws, you understand, based on the active that was received by the RCIC. We were expecting 2,000 draw for the remainder part of the year 2025. But instead of just 2,000, IRCC surprised us. You understand? They gave us what? They gave us 2,500 draws for the education all of a sudden. Do you understand? Now, also, in that same request, we were expecting healthcare. Do you understand? Healthcare to have, because they have selected healthcare, they have selected about 7,500 healthcare so far in the, you understand, in the year 2025. In that active that was received, that request that was received from IRCC by the RCIC, they stated that we are still going to see 500 healthcare professionals to be selected for the remainder part of this year. Do you understand? 500 ITAs, 500 invitations. In other words, intending immigrants, those that are already under the express entry profile, IRCC might still select at least 500, because now see, we have seen something. You have to be sure of this thing. For education, they said 2,000 remained, but they selected 2,500 last week. Now, we are hearing, or we saw that 500 is what they stated, IRCC stated in that request information that is sent to the RCIC Manjip, that they are still expecting, or they are still thinking of selecting 500 for the year 2025. But you can be surprised. They may actually pick maybe like 1,000 people under the healthcare. You understand? Because for the fact that they said 2,000 remained and they picked 2,500 for education, for healthcare, they could say, okay, it was 500 remain and they could pick 1,000. They could also say 500 remain and they should not pick anything. But for healthcare, it may be difficult for IRCC not to pick because healthcare is needed in Canada. And most of the people they are picking right now in this year, 2025, is not for, of course, those that would finally immigrate this year, 2025. Is for those that will come into Canada in the year 2026. So because of that, they may want to pick more people right now. Do you understand? So that in the year 2026, people will be able to come, like professionals, healthcare professionals will be able to come in their drones easily in the year 2025. Now, let's look at the healthcare again. For the past, like, okay, we expect that it may not be next week, just like Esther said, it may not be next week that they are going to pick, but we are sure that they are going to pick. If we look at the trajectory of healthcare professions, especially for the new healthcare and social services occupation version 2 that they have been picking, IRCC have picked 4 different times this year. They have picked healthcare and social services occupations professionals 4 different times. The first one they picked was in May 2nd, 2025. You understand? When they picked 500 people, 500 invitations, they issued 500 invitations, and the CRS score for that was 510 for the lowest draw. Do you understand? For the lowest draw was 510. After that May 2nd, they picked June 4th, 2025, healthcare and social services occupations again for version 2, and now they picked 500 as well with the CRS cutoff of 504. Yes, now also in July 2020, July 22, 2025, There was another healthcare and social services occupations version 2 draw where they picked 4,000 people, 4,000 people with CIS cutoff of 475. And lastly, August, just last month, August 19, 2025, they picked again an healthcare and social services occupations version 2 draw with invitations issued 2,500, and the CRS score of the lowest ranked candidate invited was what? 470. So we are expecting that there may be a last draw. They have picked in May, in June, in July, and August. If we don't even see this September, because this September is fast ending, if we don't see this September, we may see in October, you understand, a new healthcare occupations job. And they may either go back to the 500 they started using to pick people this year, you understand, starting from May 2nd, they may just pick those 500 alone, or they may increase from 500 people to what? To those that will be picked 1,000. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Instead of 500 people, they may pick 1,000 immigrants. So everything, what we are trying to say is that don't just wait. Don't just be among those that will just wait and be expecting jobs. Work on improving your CRS scores, because we are not sure of the kind of CRS that they are going to pick. We are not sure of which CRS they will pick, whether it's going to be increased or whether it is going to be reduced. But we know for certain that the healthcare profession or healthcare social and social services occupations, IRCC has stated that 500 invitations are still waiting to be issued. So they may either go to issue them within the 470s that they have been issuing, or it can also even have increased because many people are on the on the bench expecting that job. But apart from the healthcare, we also have the trades occupation, which we have been talking about majorly today. The trade occupations, the version 2, you understand? Just like they stated that 500 people are still awaiting to be selected for the healthcare. For the trades occupation, for the trades occupations draws, 3,300 were to be selected for the whole of 2025. IRCC has not selected anybody before they selected the 1,250 people. You understand? The 1,250 people on September 18, 2025. So we are still expecting that they will select at least another 2,000. Now, that is where I'm going to. That is exactly where I'm going to. That those that were expecting to get selected in the first trade occupations draw, that didn't get selected because of the high CRS score, the unattainable CRS score for many people that are still abroad. Because even people that are even in Canada, some of them didn't even get selected because they didn't expect it to be that high. You understand? So even if you may not be part of those that were selected last week, you still have some opportunity to get selected this year still. It may not just be this month, it may not be next month, but you may be selected maybe in October or in November or even December. That's what I'm coming to. You may be selected soon, but how would you actually be sure of it? How you be sure of it is to get started in working on your immigration. Get started in, if you are already in the pool, thank God, you can work on getting more points. If you have not maxed out maybe your language results, if you can actually add more years of experience, you understand? If you can get maybe someone in Canada that is your brother or your sister or your anybody that you know in Canada that can give you added points, you understand? Sadly, nobody get points mainly for job again through express entry. But there are other ways, basically. There are other ways you can actually get qualified. So basically, we have talked about 3 things today. We talked about the category-based selections, and the major ones we emphasized on are the healthcare, the education, and the trades occupation. As I said, one of our clients gracefully got selected last week through the education occupations draw. We're so happy that he was able to get selected. And we never expected, there are some kind of draws that you expect that, okay, because of the trajectory of education, we have seen that education, they have been having 470s, 470s. So we were expecting 470s. We never expected it to come down. You understand? But similarly, trade occupations, we were expecting that one to be very low. You understand that? Okay, 430 or 440 or 450 points. We never expected it to be that high. So basically, what we are saying in essence is IRCC does as they want. You can never what? You can never predict them. If you want to stand a chance to get invited as well, start working on your immigration. If you have started, you understand, try to even get more points. That's one of the things we told our clients that got selected through education. He had maxed out his IELTS, but his wife didn't already max out her IELTS. You understand? In fact, she didn't even have IELTS results. So we told her to go and write her IELTS. We actually trained her. We trained her at the academy. You understand, that A.O.S abroad, to write the IELTS exam, even though she has not yet maxed out the IELTS, because when she wrote it, she didn't have like the 8.5 or the 9.0 her husband had, but she had just more than enough to increase the points for her husband to actually get selected for the family. Do you understand? So thank you very much, everyone. If we have any questions, please drop it on the comment section right now before we go, so that we can respond to questions. And if you don't have any questions, we'll call it a day. And we are going to come back next time, next day, next time, anytime we have a trending topic, to discuss about immigration in full, and to answer any questions you have, and to also trash out any newsletter article or any news updates we get. So if you don't have any questions, thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bar, and let everyone know that let yourself be notified anytime we drop a content or we come on live to discuss some of these topics. So thank you very much. Don't forget, you can also go on the Canadian immigration website link that is on the screen to also get notified, to also, you understand, see the updates, see the invitations yourself, and also look through some of this content. All right, thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now.